Welcome back to the channel. Going to take a quick break from the Ready Player Me C# Avatar series to go back to a Playmaker tutorial. I've had a few folks ask me recently, how can I load an avatar with Photon, PUN2, and Playmaker so that all the other players see it? So we're going to show you how to do that real quick. But I just have a blank scene here with a camera and a light. We need to make a little arena, so let's do that real quick. All right, boom. Just have a little cube with a texture on it. That's our arena. And now we need some logic to connect to PUN. So if you've ever used Playmaker before, you should have seen some tutorials on my channel already by now on how to do that connection. So first thing I need is I just need the Playmaker Photon proxy, this bad boy here. We're just going to drop that in the scene. And then I'm just going to go ahead and keep this. You know what? We'll just create a new one, and we're going to call this connection manager, and we'll put a bracket on it to kind of show that it's something special. I'm going to right click, add the FSM, and then just right here on the start state, we're going to connect. I'm going to PUN connect using settings. Let's see how fast I can do this. I haven't done it with Playmaker in a long time. All right, so I'm just going to copy that, put that in the state, and if it will proceed, I'm not even going to worry about that. I'm going to right click, I'm going to add a transition, we're going to go to custom events, we're going to go to Photon, and we're going to go to on connected to master. And let's just test it real quick. Boom, it worked. I paused. You didn't have to wait for the whole time with me, but we were successfully connected to master because we moved into this next state. So the next thing that we're going to do is we need to join a room. So in this state, let's do join room. All right, PUN join room. And room name, we're just going to call this here, and then we're going to create it if it doesn't exist. And we're going to go copy paste so we know what we're doing here, and then add transition, custom events, Photon on joined room. All right, and then we'll just drag that off. I'm holding down the control keys. I drag off to create that empty state, and let's see if that works. And sure enough, it works. The next thing we would do from this point is spawn our player. But we're going to do it a little bit differently. Somebody I work with kind of gave me this idea, and I kind of like it a lot better because a lot of times you need a player that you can kind of move around with. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to create an empty, and this is going to be our player. It's not super important at this point, but I'm making sure that my player is zeroed out. You can just right click and reset. All right, and then on this player, I'm going to create a empty. And this is just going to be our primitive avatar holder. The reason I'm doing this is I'm going to be using primitives. You know what? Let's not do that. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to install Pro Builder to make this easier. So if you've never installed Pro Builder, I can't talk. Pro Builder before, go to Window Package Manager, and then we're just going to search Unity Registry, and we're going to type Pro Builder, hit Enter. There it is. Let's just install it. All right, it's done. And I'm now going to go up to, is it in Tools? Yep, Tools, Pro Builder. Let's go ahead and get the Pro Builder window in here. I'm just going to get a new shape. And is there a way to do it without me having to, oh well. We're just going to do a cube and put it there. I'll drag it. I don't like that I have to do it that way, but I think I can just go ahead and change this to 1, 1, 1, and just make that. Ooh, and pivot, I want it to be first corner. That's probably okay. Let's see where the pivot is. No. All right, undo, 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 undo. Let's just let's delete it, and then new shape. We're gonna do a cube, and we're just gonna keep it at the center. And can I just hit enter? Can't. What happened to just being able to just drop one in? Not to like draw it and drag it. 1, 1, 1, enter. All right, there we go. So now we have this, but I'm going to go into face select mode. I'm going to select this face and set the pivot. And let's go back to object mode, and there we go. So now if I take this and I zero it out, why? Oh, it's down below because I'm not using a plane. I'm using a cube as the ground. So really, with this cube being 1 scale, we need to move this minus 0.5 down. And that should just make everything a little bit more easy for us. I'm going to call this ground. All right, my player is at 0, 0, 0. And on my player, I'm going to go ahead and add a character controller. And why is it not showing me the gizmos for? Is it because, oh, it's completely encapsulated? All right, so my character controller, the center point is at the pivot point. So to get rid of that, we're just going to change my center 1 meter up. And now you can see my pivot point is at the bottom of my character controller. All right. And really, I guess my height is bigger than I need, but we're just going to leave it like that anyways. So here's my player. And then this cube is going to be my cube avatar. Cube avatar. All right. And I'm just going to go ahead and notice how these Pro Builder properties are here. Once you have your property how you want it, you can actually go into Pro Builder and you go ahead and tell it to export it. I'm gonna hit the plus. And I want to export it as, I think, prefab, and replace the source, export. And then it's just going to make it a new mesh for us. I guess I can just put it in the prefab. I'm just gonna put it here in the assets folder. All right, so there it is. It's a prefab. If we look in the inspector, those extra Pro Builder things are gone. And on this cube avatar, I don't want a mesh collider at all. Let's go ahead and apply that. And in fact, let's just go ahead and select this. No, let's go ahead and open the prefab. And what do I need from this? So I'm going to plan on instantiating this across the network. So this is going to need a photon view. And we're also going to need, because we're going to be instantiating it with Playmaker, we need a Playmaker game object photon proxy. And then we also want to see what this is doing. So I'm going to do a transform view, photon transform view. We want the position and the rotation not in local, because we're going to have a parent and that would mess everything up. All right. And then we do that. Go ahead and save. And so now we have everything we need for that cube. So I can go ahead and delete that. But you know what? That cube avatar, I actually need into my resources folder. File being moved, conflicts the file, the destination folder, resources. Oh, so let's just go in there. And these are old from when I started to record this. And then I realized my plan was not sound. So I'm doing it again. And then assets folder. Where's that cube avatar? Put it into resources. Boom. All right, so now we need to create another avatar type. And I'm just going to create a new shape. And this time, let's go with a cool sphere. And, oh, I didn't want to do that fast. Let's try this again. New shape, sphere. Let's see if I can set the size like that. And do this, and do that. And then let's go ahead and make it 1, 1, 1. Thank you. It's in the center. I don't care about the subdivisions really. All right, let's come back over here. And I still want its pivot point at the bottom. So I'm going to go to face select, and I'm going to attempt to grab the bottom face, which there's actually multiple. Looks like that texture is really helping us a lot. So I'm going to select all those bad boys. And I'm going to set the pivot, which it should put it in the center of those. If I go back to game object, yeah, sweet. So now if I go to the inspector, if I zero this all out, boom, boom, boom. There we go. It's sitting perfectly. And then I can now go into Pro Builder, and let's go ahead and export this same way. Export. And I'm going to go ahead and put this one in my resources folder properly this time. And we're going to call this sphere avatar. It already exists. I'm not sure how. Maybe I forgot to delete one. Yes, go ahead and replace it. All right. And so now I'm going to delete that. Let's go back to my sphere avatar. Look at the inspector. And even though I don't have it open, I can still add some components. So we need our photon view here. Photon view. We need our Playmaker game object proxy. Game object is. And then we need our transform view. There it is. Turn off local. All right. And then let's get a third avatar just for good measure. So new shape. And I'm going to use this. You know, let's use a cone for fun. And then boom, 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 boom. And then set this back to 1, 1, 1. And size count 6, sure. And then let's come back here. And then I'm going to go to face select. And let's go to the bottom of the cone. Or is it a pyramid? It's supposed to be, if it had more size, it'd be more cone shaped. But we're just going to grab every single bottom face here, including you, and set the pivot. Switch back to game object mode. Boom. Inspector 0, 0, 0. And now it should be sitting on top nicely. Fantastic. Why aren't you 0? 0. All right. And then let's go back to Pro Builder. We're going to export it, and find our resources folder. We're going to call this cone avatar. Okay. And so what's our cone avatar look like? Does it have the components that we need? No, because it just saved the mesh and stuff. All right, so let's go ahead and delete this guy. We're going to come in here to the cone. Oh, that's the cube. Let's go into the cone avatar. And then we're going to remove the collider. And I hope we did that from the sphere. Did we? No. Let's remove the sphere collider. And we already did it to the cube, right? Sure. All right. The cone. Add a photon view. Boom. We're going to add our game object proxy. And add our transform view. Transform view. Didn't read for some reason. Turn off local. All right, so our avatars are all ready. So on connection manager, let's create a new manager. Let's go to create empty, and we're going to call this avatar manager. We'll put it in brackets. And I'm just going to move it above the player here. And let's go ahead and add an FSM. We'll make the FSM called Avatar Manager. And then we're just going to make this an empty state. Then I'm going to add a new one. And we're going to call this Begin. And then we're going to add a state Begin. Make it a global transition. Add global transition Begin. And then on the connection manager, once we join the room, we're going to say Begin Avatar Manager. And we're going to send an event, send event. And the game object, we're going to specify game object FSM. Let's specify the object, and it's going to be the avatar manager. It's going to be the avatar manager FSM. And the event we're going to send is begin. Cool. So now in the avatar manager, what we are going to do, let's go ahead and create a variable, and we're going to call it game object, and it's going to be our current avatar. All right, and what we're going to do here in the begin state is we're going to instantiate, and we're going to start with the cube. We go to our assets and search avatar. We have our cube avatar. I don't really care about the spawn point. We're going to store this as our current avatar, and then we're going to set parent of our current avatar to our player, and uncheck world position, have it reset the local positions. And just to avoid me having to copy this, let's actually make this as set cube, and then we're going to make the event be called, make it unglobal, call it cube, and then make it global again. And then so back in the connection manager, let's switch this back to, oh, okay, it remembered it. Great, doesn't always do that. All right, so we're still good there. And so let's go ahead and copy paste this, and we're going to delete this transition, and we're going to call this set sphere. And then here we're going to choose sphere underscore avatar. All right, everything else is the same. And then we just need to add a new event, and this one's going to be called sphere. Make it global, add global transition sphere. And then we're going to copy paste this one more time, and we're going to set cone, and then delete this global, and then the event we're going to call cone. All right, so we are in pretty good shape now. Oh wait, I got to add transition, global transition, cone. We got to do one more thing here. Because the player might already have an avatar, we need to destroy the previous one. And I'm going to go back to what I did originally. And let's just move this back here. We're going to copy and paste this. And we're going to go back and we're going to create a new state called begin. And then we're going to delete transition, add global transition, begin. Not what I wanted. Right click, add global transition, begin. And then we're set initial cube. Set initial cube. All right. So we're good there. But then on all these other ones, we need to destroy, PUN destroy. Destroy. We got to find the one for PUN. Photon network destroy. And the game object we want to destroy is our current avatar. Let's copy that. Paste action before. Paste action before. And hopefully that doesn't all happen too fast. Hopefully it goes in order. And if not, we'll have to separate those states a bit. And then let's go back to our connection manager. And we're going to set this back to begin. So we can see what we have so far. Let me move this over. We'll hit play. All right, we've connected and we have a cube that's spawned for us, but we can't move or anything because I haven't created a movement FSM yet. So let's stop playback. Let's go ahead and go to our player real quick. We're going to add an FSM, and this is going to be our movement FSM. Why did I put FSM in the end? All right, and then we need to add a player input as we're using the new input system. And whatever your input settings you're going to be using, pick here. I'm going to do this one that's in my project currently. And then I'm going to player input get move vector. And we're doing on the owner. I need to do move. Make sure the move I get is the input actions that I'm using. And we're going to make it relative to our camera. I'm not going to use a multiplier. I'm just going to store the move vector. And for this, we're just going to use a controller, simple move. And the move vector is move vector. The speed I'm going to use is 3. That's usually pretty good. 3, numlock, 3, there we go. And world space. And so move the player. All right, so now if we hit play, we should spawn the cube and we should be able to move around. All right, there's our cube. And there you can see we can move around just fine. All right, but now we need a way that we're going to be changing our avatar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and bring in my cone avatar here, and we're going to push him back, I don't know, to there. I'm bring in my cube avatar, and we're just going to move him like over here. And then we're going to get my sphere avatar, and we're just going to move him over here. It's good. All right, and then on all of these, I am just going to get rid of their photon views and their game object proxies and that thing. And then I'm just going to add a component, a sphere collider on all of them. We're going to make it a trigger. And there's the size of it there. Let's make the radius 4. That looks good. All right. And so now I am going to, let's go ahead and unpack these. Prefab, unpack completely. And then let's create an FSM. And the FSM is going to be avatar trigger. And then Playmaker, we're just going to now do trigger event. And on trigger enter, we want the collide tag to be player. So make sure our player has the player tag, and it does. All right, and then we're going to call this trigger enter. All right, and then we're just going to do trigger enter. And then after the trigger gets entered, we are then going to send event to game object FSM, specify the game object, and it's going to be our avatar manager. FSM name is avatar manager, and the event we want to send is, for this one, it's the cone. So we're just going to choose cone. And then we're going to, so it's send avatar event. Then I'm going to copy this, copy paste. Right click, add transition finished, come back down here. And then we're going to call this one trigger exit. And on trigger exit, new event, trigger exit, add it, right click, delete it, trigger exit, come up there. Just because it bothers me, link end, lock to the left. This one, link end, lock to the right. There we go, better flow. And we're just going to copy this FSM. And then we're going to paste it on the cube and the sphere. Oh, I could have been more clever. I could have sent FSM by name and got it a lot more clever. But it's only 3 game objects, so we're just going to do it this way. So now on the event, we're going to send cube for this one. On the sphere, send avatar event. We're going to send sphere for that one. All right. Oh, I haven't saved my scene yet. We're just going to call this avatar demo. You know, initially when I started this, I meant to make this based on custom player properties. I don't know why this popped in my head instead. I just started going and didn't really think. Maybe we'll do another one down the road where we use custom player properties. All right, but there we are. We are a cube. And if I come here, it does nothing because we wouldn't have noticed. But now, there we go. We're a sphere now. And if we come up to the cone, why isn't my cone one going? Cone avatar. Do our triggers overlap? They don't overlap. Do they? See that one? Where's our sphere? They don't overlap, but man, they're close. Let's try doing this. There's a cube. There's our player up here. Now we're a sphere. Oh! That's our issue. Cone avatar. Are we sending the right event? We are sending the cone event. Let's go to the avatar manager. Let's look at the cone. Ah, there we go. And then cone underscore avatar. Cool. We'll just do one more quick test. All right, there we are. And we're a cube again. I don't know why I keep going to cube first. Sphere. We're cone. We're a cube. And if you get this black-gray thing, you don't like that black-gray thing, it has to do with the Playmaker photon proxy. Let me just go to prefab, unpack completely. Go to its FSM here, go to debug, and don't show state label. All right, let's go to project settings. Let's go to the player. Let's look at desktop. Look at resolution and presentation. That's probably fine. Make sure running background's on. Visible in background, running background. Okay, great. All right, let's go to build settings. Oh, shoot, I got to switch over to Windows. All right. And let's add the open scene and uncheck this one. And let's just go ahead and build and run. You know what? Cancel that. Let's uncheck development build and run. And I thought I already saved this. Oh, I gotta find a place to save. We'll call this avatar demo. There we go. Don't worry about that. All right, so we're gonna see if this worked together. I'm gonna close that. Oh, I shouldn't. All right, there we go. Got them all back. All right, so here's this one. I'm going to move down here. All right, so I'm going to put you in the bottom left. I'm going to put you in the bottom right. And you're in the center. All right, so he's going to go up and become a cone. Boom, he's a cone. Down here, this guy's going to become a circle. Boom, he's a circle. And then cube is going to become a cube. Boom, he's a cube. Okay, we'll go really test him for real. Let's come over here. Boom. All right, so I was looking here, I'm like, why is nothing changing here? That's because it's my editor and it's not running. All right, so there we go. So this was not the route I was planning on taking, but it's an interesting way to set avatars. And you can see it's all being taken care of by the local player. There's no RPCs. They're just instantiating and destroying game objects. Yeah, so pretty cool. I guess instantiating game objects, I don't know. That's probably still going to be sending something over the network. I don't know if that's more expensive than just telling everybody what mesh you're using. But this is a way. I hope you've learned something from this. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you next time.